how does y'all's product actually work? Is there any hardware associated with it, or is it only software based?
Well, if this is for my wife, it's engineering, blah, blah, blah.
You got to sound smart here, man.
I mean, I'll kick it off, and then I'm going to turn it over to you on the engineering side. But like I mentioned a minute ago, they started as a reservoir engineering platform, right? So taking a very analytical approach to all this early time flowback information, right? Like really doing something with the information, figuring out, okay, if I make this small choke change and I introduce a pressure transient into the well, what is it actually doing to the well bore? Like, am I damaging the formation? Am I ripping, propping out? What is my, EUR? What does my MPV look like? That is how the business started. And I'll let Daryl go into a lot more detail on exactly, how they do it and what's different about it, their proprietary workflows and so on. Like I said, too, we layered in hardware because, without good quality data, it is hard to make the right calls from a reservoir engineering standpoint. So we didn't just layer in like expensive, normal flowback and well testing gear. This stuff is highly customized. So I give you a dozen examples. All sorts of safety features, H2S sensors and LEL sensors and things that can basically eliminate the need for a slow manual response to emergencies. That's sort of like pre-choke all the way through, the latest stage of the system. Sensors and like, for example, guided wave radar to measure all the liquids going through the separator. Conditioning plates to get the gas rates. Like anything that needs to be measured, we're going to do it consistently in the same way in the highest level of accuracy possible. That takes some investment. There's some proprietary designs on the internals of the separator also. Even leading into the separator, you've got sort of a longer, larger diameter set of pipes that allow for reduced velocity going into the separator. So you've got less turbulence in the separator, which obviously leads to better measurement accuracy. There's internals there that my COO would kill me if I talked too much about it, but that help enhance the separation.
But so you guys did go the route of you're actually producing the iron that's out on location, and it's got the built-in measurement systems that you guys need to collect the data.
We have a couple manufacturers we work with, but yes, we have our own design.
Gotcha. That's what I meant. Yeah. Cool.
For all of it, really.
Awesome.
Some of it's kind of standard, call it 3-inch iron, which, a lot of folks are using in the Permian. But the internals of the separator, for example, it's all proprietary. And it's not just because we want to say we got the sexiest, most priciest equipment out there. It's because we want that enhanced separation, both for better data quality and also because we feel like operators are getting ripped off right now. I mean, they lose a lot of their oil to skim. There's too much water going into the oil, and it's costing them money or they're foregoing revenues. And so our equipment can help eliminate those problems. There's actuators on ours are all electric as opposed to pneumatic on competition. We've got FLIR videos of competition where what is the emissions we're seeing off some of those actuators, like a liter per minute?
So basically what we did is ESG is a big thing now. People care about emissions. You don't want emissions going in people's face when they're working out there. You don't want it going to the atmosphere because there's also environmental people standing out at the road taking shots of your lease and posting that all over YouTube. So we need to cut down that as much as possible. You probably hear this stuff about cutting down flaring. So what Revo specifically did is redesign our system to be 100% electric and emission free. And one of the things we did to do that was changing the high pressure control valves to motor valves. And a high pressure control valve typically on an actuation cycle vents about 2 liters of gas. Well, these things are actuating a few times a minute. When you look at a 6-well pad over 30 days of flowing back, you're releasing a couple tons of CO2 equivalent into the air. If you can eliminate that component that's doing that, then you drastically reduce the amount of emissions that are coming off of your lease during a flowback. So that was one of the design considerations that our COO put into the equipment. So that way we can be emission free with all of our flowback gear.
That's really interesting. I didn't think about that. Every time that valve's actually actuating and operaling, there's a little bit of gas leak in there. Just like you said, there's so much frequency that is popping out.
When you're standing next to him, you'll hear it go tss, tss.
Yeah.
A little bit of gas comes out every time. And I grew up around this stuff. and you're standing next to it and it's like, I can smell it.
Yeah.
Right? You probably shouldn't be breathing it in.
That's it. I grew up in Midland. I was like, I'm like born, I was like raised on that smell,
Exactly, right? That's probably not the best smell for
I feel like something's wrong if I don't smell that.
Exactly.
Explains a lot.
Yeah.